All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Tomahawk. I'm Mike, and I got my co-host Matt and Justin with me, and we're going to give you a rundown from the last three games of the Chicago Blackhawks versus the Nashville Predators. Now, the first game was horrible in all facets of the game. Lankinen didn't play well all the way up and down the lineup. Game 2 came in, and it was a little bit pretty much the same thing, but Subban played pretty well, and it was, what was it? Going into the third period, 3-1, Nashville scores a quick goal. It's 4-1, and the next thing you know, it's just the wind is taken out of everybody, and then the Hawks storm back, they tie the game up, take it into overtime, and they win. And it kind of, makes you want to be a believer, makes everybody a believer. And then game 3 came versus Nashville. I would say the Hawks team looked better than they did in the previous 2 games, but they couldn't score on Soros. And Subban I would say Subban let by 2 really bad goals. So I would think that they could have, it should have been tied 1-1 and the game go into overtime. The Hawks ended up losing. And, it's just really dejecting. I'm going to name a few things that I pick out from actually this last game, but I would say that it goes back with the other 2 games as well. Number 1 is Boquist. I think that I've seen enough of this guy. I just don't think that he's, I don't want to say NHL ready. I just don't see anything from this player that makes me want to keep him on the team. Like if Bowman wants to trade him for picks, I would not be heartbroken about it. Where are you guys at with that?
I agree.
What about you, Justin?
Give Bowman time. If his track record says anything, Boquist will be out the door over the offseason, right? I mean,
the odds are in his favor. Yes.
I'll get my wish.
Yeah, I mean, he's not. I don't know what I expected out of him this season. I mean, I know he's still young, but there's nothing that jumps off the page. And it's not like somebody he's not like one of those players where you don't notice him, but it's a good thing. It's like, I feel like I don't notice Boquist, and it's like, you were a high pick. You have some fame to your name a little bit. You got to be stepping up and standing out a little bit. And I don't see it with him. I don't know what the deal is with him.
Do you guys notice, like a complete lack of effort from him?
Yeah, it seems like, I don't know if it's just, I know we were talking about with some of the goals that Subban gave up, you could kind of see he's a little dejected, and then you start seeing that, in his body language a little bit, and that's kind of a dangerous route to go, because I mean, what kind of a message does that send to the goalie and to the rest of the team? I don't know, Matt, what do you think?
Oh, that was a pretty bad goal. I mean, that was a goal line shot that can't go in. I don't blame him on that, but I noticed him when we had the extra attacker out, and he got beat, and there was like no hustle to try to prevent that open net goal. And it took Duncan Keith, a 37-year-old, to skate his balls off to stop that. And come on, dude, you got to hustle like Keith.
It looked like that he wasn't even there was no urgency to get back to get the open net. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And luckily, to be honest with you, Keith was there to.
I mean, the guy's still got wheels, man.
To foil that.
Yeah.
But I've seen enough of Subban as well. I think that he's just too inconsistent. That he just can't find the consistency every single game. Maybe he played the past couple games because Lankinen is just burned out. It's his first season, in the big show, and maybe he's burned out a little bit. But a bright side to everything is the chemistry between Brandon Hagel and Vinny Hinostroza.
Yes,
both speedsters. I mean, I think that maybe they've become friends, to be honest with you, because you see them talking with each other a lot, and maybe that they're bonding a bit and they're able to play pretty well with each other. where maybe this could be our second line pairing, to be honest with you. We could keep Kane and DeBrincat on the top line and see where Suter fits in. Suter and Kurashev, to be honest with you. Maybe Kurashev would be a good third line guy to put some pressure offensively, because he does have, I think he has a pretty decent two-way game. Mm-hmm. He back checks pretty hard, and he has major offensive upside. How do you guys feel about Kurashev?
I think he's got potential. I could see that being like a third line case. I think him and Suter have definitely been bright spots this season of like guys you can kind of look to and be like, hey, we might have something there. I mean, as long as you're not, putting them on the first line and expecting them to score a ton of points, I feel like that's something the Hawks used to do in like the 90s when they would call people up or they'd trade people that were clearly third line guys and they'd stick them on the first line. But I mean, if you give them third line roles and just say, hey, play a physical, not even a physical game, but play a steady game. Don't try to do too much. I think they have something with those two. I think that's good. I think that Wyatt Kalynuk, if I'm saying his name, Kalynuk, thank you. He's been a bright spot on defense. Granted, it's only been like a handful of games, but I've been excited. I've seen more out of him than I think I've seen out of Boquist the whole season, which is huge. And I know, Matt, you like Stillman. I think he's been a decent stay-at-home guy.
I thought Stillman was way better than any of their
defense
tonight.
I'm going to say it. I'll say I think that Stillman was playing better than Calvin DeHaan.
That was a good pickup. Yeah. Great trade.
Yeah, so I mean, like, there's these little like building blocks you can see, and that's exciting. But then at the same time, it's like, you got Colleton playing Subban more, and I know, like Mike, you said maybe Lankinen was kind of
thing.
Yeah,
I think that's what it was.
Thing. I think it is.
I think so as well.
I feel like sometimes management and coaching gets in the way of a potentially decent team. You got Hagel. Hagel looks really good on the third or fourth line. I've been really impressed with him. There's pieces here that could work. It's just a matter of getting it all in the right spot and slotting everybody in the right spot. So you don't have a guy that's like a fourth or fifth defenseman on the first pairing. You know what I mean? So that's the biggest challenge, but we'll see where they go from here.
I think that I've seen enough. I don't want to say enough. I've seen more out of Bowden, Mitchell, and Kalynuk than I've seen out of Boquist.
Even Stillman. I think Stillman in this short stint, I think he's been way better than Boquist.
I wasn't including Stillman because I think that plays a different type of game, and I think that obviously Boquist, Mitchell, Bowden, they play a bit of a skating type of game.
Right.
And
new defenseman. Yeah.
Right. And Kalynuk, honestly, man, I think Kalynuk looks great with the puck, and he skates great with the puck, and he has a great, I've seen great passing ability from him, to be honest with you. And I think that these guys should be playing more than Boquist is. I think that these guys should be getting that Duncan Keith time than Boquist should be. Boquist, if anybody, should be down at the AHL trying to find his game or trying to find his way in the professional league, and really not these guys. But that's just how I feel about it. What do you guys think of Bowden? Did you notice anything out of him today, or did you
I
guys
didn't really notice much from him today.
Not today, no.
That could be a good thing.
Yeah, I saw him make a few good passing plays where he got the puck, he was getting pressure, he didn't panic, and then he made a couple of very good outlet passes, and it was tape to tape that caught my eye. But other than that, in a good way, no, I didn't notice him other than that too much. So
I thought he looked good. Now, granted, he didn't. I think he was scratched, or I don't think he played the 2 games before tonight. Right? Does that sound right?
He hasn't played since March 27th.
Okay, so getting in tonight, he had an assist. He was even. Had a hit, 2 blocks. He had 2 giveaways, but he also had 3 takeaways, and he did that all in under 13 minutes of ice time. So
wow.
Like that's not bad for a guy that's been in and out of the lineup, or in this case, out of the lineup for most of the season.
Right.
Young guy. Yeah. I mean, I think there's something there. I mean, my biggest thing now is these last 3 games to me felt like it was an early playoff series. You had to win these. You didn't. So now I want to see what you have in Delia. I want to see more of these young defensemen. And like you said, Mike, if Boquist isn't going to hustle or he's not going to really show you as much, then either scratch him or let him go to Rockford for a little while and play these young kids and see what you have, because you have the perfect opportunity now. There's no pressure now because you're not going to make it. Let's be realistic. They're done. So you might as well see what you got and then keep those guys around. And the ones that don't look like they're going to be a part of your system, trade them for what you can in the offseason. So
yeah, I agree with that. I think that Bowden should be getting a shot like Bodequist does. I've never seen this guy get so many chances, and they want him to be the man, and it's not working.
It's not going to happen.
They're forcing it.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, maybe as he matures, maybe next season we'll see more. But as of right now, he's not. I don't know. I could see that.
He's too small. I think he's too small, and he's slow. He's not even like a fast small guy. He's just skates normal. He like you said. I don't think there's that much hustle in him. But they got high hopes on him, and so far it's not working out.
Don't you think, Matt? I think you said it too. Doesn't that kind of feel like this is the one, besides Doc, this is the one pick that Bowman's keeping around, so he wants him getting as much ice time? I mean, like, am I like conspiracy theory here that Bowman wants to look good? That's why he keeps telling Colliton
I'm
to play
surprised him. He's still like not traded. I mean,
you took the words out of my mouth, Justin. Honestly, man, that's the only reason this guy should be getting the time that he's getting is from direct pressure from up above.
It is. They're forcing it. And
Colliton seems like the type that would be like, okay, that's fine. I could see Quenneville telling him to shove it.
That's why Quenneville's gone.
That's why he's not here anymore. Yeah, exactly. But I can see Colliton just being like, all right, sure, no problem.
I don't think Colliton, he doesn't have that kind of authority yet.
No.
I mean, how old is he? 38, 39?
Well,
something. It's
38.
If he goes to if he's going to go complain to a manager, Bowman's the manager. Bowman's the next manager up. It's like, you know what I mean? What's gonna do?
It's like Bowman's gonna let me. I'll bring this complaint to my superior, and it's just Bowman again.
Yeah. So. Then he just spins around. He's like, oh, and by the way, you're fucking fired.
Yeah. By the way, you're on stick boy duty.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Go wash the uniforms.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you guys. I think that the Hawks aren't that bad. They're missing a couple pieces. A lot of young guys on the team that, to be honest with you, I think that they are playing very well. I think the defense just needs to be sorted out. If they can figure that out, I think that just fixing that turns this into more of a complete team. To be honest with you, might even turn them into a playoff team. Yeah. Because they're just so lacking on the defensive end of the puck. Lankinen, I think, is the guy. And I think that they need to figure out what they're going to do with Subban and Delia. Mm-hmm. Delia definitely deserves another opportunity, like you said, Justin. I want to see him play.
Yeah, he might as well.
Because that last goal that Subban gave up from practically the line.
Say the truth. It was
horrible.
It was pretty much three of them.
It was horrible. It was horrific.
Lost. The first one he got lost. I mean, I guess
he
could
did.
Say it was a breakdown with the whole team, but
because it looked like he made like the first two saves on that first goal, didn't he?
There was traffic in front.
There was a lot of traffic, which I totally get that.
He was all over the place, though.
Yeah.
He didn't even see it. He didn't. He didn't even know it went in.
Yeah,
he gets lost a lot.
Yeah, he does. But that last one really, man, it really burned me.
Especially when it's two bad goals and it could be 1-1, like you said, and it could have been an OT game. And I mean, we don't want to give Nashville any more points, but at least we would get a point.
At least we get one.
Yeah,
exactly. Exactly.
And maybe we steal another one, because Nashville, you take two guys off the ice for Nashville, man, they're not that good of a team.
No. It has been really interesting to see, though, for as many years as I feel like Soros has been the backup to Rene, it's been really, as much as I hate Nashville and I do not like them, they got something with him taking the reins for Rene, I feel like. So it's kind of scary to think that's the future Nashville goalie
for
what?
With him.
For the next half a decade, maybe, maybe longer. So
he won the game tonight.
He did.
The Hawks looked great in the second period tonight.
They did.
They were peppering him, and he was just making great saves.
He had great movement. He was tracking the puck.
That was the difference.
He wasn't
tonight.
giving up. He wasn't giving up many rebounds. And the Hawks, man, they were passing the puck well. They were moving the puck well. They were staying out of their zone. They were getting the puck out of their zone. They were providing pressure, and they couldn't catch a break.
He was stopping everything.
He played out of his mind.
It was a goalie win tonight.
He's been playing out of his mind against the Hawks all year.
A goalie win and a goalie loss. That's what it was. Our goalie lost the game for us, and their goalie won the game for them.
So the Hawks were they ended up, is that 1-8 against Nashville this season? Does that sound right, or was it?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
Wow, that just blows my mind. It's insane. Just to have the Predators have their number for whatever reason this season, and it's not like the Predators are some, they're not God's gift to the hockey world, right? I mean, they're 10 points behind Tampa for third place, so it's not like they're lighting the,
I think it exposes the Hawks' weaknesses. I mean,
it does.
They can't play a gritty game against a team like this, and we got to learn how to win games different ways.
Well, I think Matt, you said it best before we started recording it. Like, you look at the cup winning teams. Yeah. They could beat you in so many different ways. It didn't matter what line they were rolling out, first line, second line, third line,
or what type of line.
It could be a track meet type of game. It could be kind of a slow grinding game, but they had something in place to beat you. And I'm sure it's obviously the personnel that they have on the ice, and I think it's when you have Quenneville behind the bench that helps too a lot. Oh, yeah. But I mean, now, I don't know. I think, Matt, you said it best. They don't have an identity. Like, I don't know what this team is. You know,
2010. I think is the best Blackhawk team I've ever seen. Like, up and down the lineup. And the biggest weakness on that team was the goaltending, but it was just enough to win because our D was so good.
Right.
Our offense was good. Our fourth line.
Niemi played well in the playoffs, though.
He earned it. Niemi played great.
He played actually,
but
twice as good in the playoffs than he did in the regular season.
Well, they were. If I had to say, like, the weakness, the strengths was obviously our offense. Our D was great too, but our goaltending was probably the weakest part of that team, and it was very good.
Yeah.
But they can beat you, like you said. They can outscore you 7-1. They can win a 1-0 game. They can win. It's what the Vancouver series proved it. They could play tough. The Sharks, they could play gritty.
Play from behind.
Yep. And
that was when we had good old Cristobal Huet as our backup after Niemi took the reins, right?
He was supposed to be the man.
They
let Hobby Bullen go over him.
He came. Was he in Washington for like half a season and then Montreal before that, right?
Yeah, he made his name in Montreal.
Yeah, that's when he was big. Yeah.
Luckily, they heard my prayers and they let him go.
Yeah.
Well, there's no point when Niemi, the way he was playing,
never to be heard from again.
I think
it's like a Viking
Swiss league, right?
It's like a Viking funeral pyre. They just kind of lit it on fire and pushed him out to sea.
Yeah, and he just went off into the sunset.
I remember there was a game. I know I pretty much went to every game that year, 2010, and I think they were playing Dallas, and I remember Mike Ribeiro, that crazy looking dude.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. I heard he was kind of a jerk.
I've heard stories about him too.
He hadn't slept for 2 weeks
or showered
constantly.
And he dumped a puck in, hits the glass. Huey went to play it. It took a crazy bounce, and it was going right towards the goal line. And Huey skates back, kicks it in, and I'm just like, oh my goodness! And Q pulled him. Because that was just brutal.
Yeah.
And I think that was the last I really saw him, unless Niemi was pulled. But he just disappeared after that game.
Yeah, he did. Wow. Yeah. Well, moving on and moving forward, boys, where do you guys see the team coming forward? Are we just say, hey, you know what? Let's just see what we've got. Do we shut down Patrick Kane, make sure that, and Kirby Dach, make sure there isn't any kind of injury in these, I don't want to say somewhat meaningless games because they're not meaningless. I mean, if they want to go for it, they can. But what should we do? Should we protect our assets and see what the kids can offer, or what?
Yeah, Mike, I think we should probably get Kirby Dach some time to heal. I think he's kind of out here to get us into the playoff push, but there's no reason he needs to be out there and risk another injury. As for, like we talked about earlier, I think we should get more of the young defensemen out there and let's see what they got. We got to get ready for next year. So that's what my opinion is on that.
I mean, I think you're right, man. I think Doc, I mean, not necessarily a known quantity yet, but like you said, he's coming back from a rough injury. I think he's still not 100% after the surgery. There's nothing to prove at this point. I mean, I know, like you guys said, they're not statistically eliminated, but I mean, you look at the standings. There's no way they're climbing over Dallas, who's got 2 games in hand, Nashville, who's 5 points ahead of them. I mean, yeah, at this point, you gotta batten down the hatches, let the guys heal that need to heal, and live to fight another day next year. That would be my takeaway. I mean, even as disappointing as it is, like I feel like they still showed more. I really thought we'd be in the cellar the entire season. So like I wouldn't even consider this a failure of a season. I mean, I'm sure some fans do just because they're not in the playoffs. But I think you got a little bit of an idea of what you can use to build off of and what you might not need to have anymore. But whether or not management does something about it is another question. But it'll be interesting to see what they do because next year they need to show a little bit of a little bit more of a leap, a little bit bigger of an improvement, but I don't know if they'll be able to yet.
In all honesty, I was expecting a tough season.
Yeah.
I was expecting hard games to watch. And you know what? The management put a product out on the ice that was fun to watch at times and makes you really feel hopeful for the future.
Yeah.
And I think that, there's something to take away with that. I guess you could call it a win for Bowman, which hate to say, but
yeah.
I mean, it is.
It's lucky though. Very lucky. Lankinen was around.
Yeah. He's definitely, we could call Bowman, maybe his middle name is Lucky because, he's had some pretty good situations that he's walked into, but recently, I mean, this is a situation that he did on his own. So next year we'll be telling. Hopefully we get the captain back. They mentioned on Wednesday's game that there's a possibility that Taser can come back next year, fully healthy. No details on his health, on what he has or what he's going through, but they're expecting him back next season. So we'll see. What happens on his front. You hope that we don't get a press release, him saying he's going to retire, because I mean, if we do, then, for his safety and whatever he's battling, hopefully he can get through that, because hockey isn't everything, but hopefully everything works out well for everybody. So moving on, we're going to go into the box with Matt. What do you got, Matt? We're giving you a 5-minute major or 10-minute misconduct.
Well, I'm just looking at the final spots for every conference or every division, if you want, whatever. But the most interesting one, I'd say, is the West. Well, I kind of call it the Pacific. But, I mean, Phoenix is in the 4th spot. I did not see that.
It blows my mind.
Yeah,
Phoenix,
I saw that too.
And St. Louis, they're competing. And I think, you kind of got to keep your eye on the Sharks too. I mean, they got some experience, but it's probably going to come down to St. Louis and Arizona. And I don't know. I don't know if I'm Vegas and I'm in first and St. Louis ends up getting that last spot, I think I'd be a little nervous to play them the first round because I know they're not having a great season, but if you make the playoffs, it's like a different game. And it's like getting there is the battle. And they got the experience. They got the goalie that can win. So I don't know. What are your guys' opinions on that?
Matt, I'm glad you brought up the West or the old Pacific.
Yeah.
I mean, like the other team, and I'm shocked because I consider them more of a rebuilding team, but even the Kings are only 5 points out of a playoff spot and they're in the 7th seed right now.
Yeah.
And they have 4 games in hand on Arizona right now. So if some magical way they won all 4, they would be in the 4th spot right now, which blows my mind. I can't believe that. Yeah. But like even Arizona, I don't know. can they sustain that 4th spot? I mean, they're not.
No.
They're in it, but they're not that good. I mean,
they don't have any like superstars. I mean, if you consider Phil Kessel one, I don't really consider him
was it Jacob Chikrin is kind of like up and coming,
and then
right?
You got that Garland, I guess his name. Yeah. He's actually a good player, but who's the goalie? Ranta?
I like Ranta. Yeah. But I feel like I really liked him as a Hawk, but I feel like if you blow on him, he gets injured. Like that's kind of the rap against him now, right? Like he's been injured a lot.
Well, what's up with Kemper? Darcy Kemper.
I think is he the one that's kind of taking the brunt of the starts? So I mean he was, let's see. I remember he was he a Wild prospect or did he just play with Minnesota? I can't remember at this point.
Yes, he was. I think he actually played against the Hawks in a playoff series when somebody was getting lit up. It was probably either Backstrom or Dubnyk at the time, but I think St. Louis with the experience, I think they could steal it, but I just, for some reason, I get a bad feeling about the Sharks. But the Sharks,
that'd be cool to see.
Yeah.
Especially with Marleau being his last season. I mean, I don't know. I feel like the West is like the only division that's really still up for grabs, right?
Well, as of tonight, I guess we had the Hawks still in, but Dallas could. I mean, they got 46 games played. I think what is Nashville at 49 after tonight or.
Yes. Yep.
So and they're hot. They lost to the Red Wings though, which was very bad for them last night. But
it's like a scarlet letter when you lose to them.
That's bad. But look at us, we've lost to them too when we needed.
I know.
A big
win. We shouldn't be talking.
Not the majority though, guys.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, and as for the North Division, which you know what, I'm looking at that. We got Toronto in first, and we got Winnipeg. You know they're close. Edmonton's competing for the second slot. Then you got Montreal, and then it kind of dips down like to Calgary. They're the Habs have 49 points, and the Flames are at 41. I think this division's pretty much set up. Maybe we'll have a little swap with Edmonton and the Jets, but I just see Toronto just being too powerful. I think they're going to walk away with that one.
I sure hope so. I mean, a Toronto and Montreal first round would be awesome just to watch from like a viewer standpoint.
God, and all the Canadians out there. Oh my goodness.
The Canadian market. They'd be losing their minds. But I mean, even though Montreal is not nearly as good as they have been in the past, I feel like if Carey Price ever gets hot, you got to be careful. If he's on, I feel like he hasn't been on. Does he really?
Yeah, I heard
is he out again?
Well, don't forget Anderson's out too, your boy. And
that's true. And Campbell's coming back down to earth a little bit. They're struggling. They're struggling. David Rittich,
he had a terrible game.
He did not look good. No. So we'll see what happens. If they have to, dive into like Michael Hutchinson as their backup, they might be in trouble because I don't really know. He hasn't done much since he left Winnipeg, right? Wasn't he the backup for Hellebuck a couple of seasons back? No. So, it'll be...
I think the Leafs, their offense alone will just kind of carry them, and hopefully they just get one more goal than the other team at the end.
Stay healthy and, Yeah.
Well, and I wanted to bring one more thing up. I don't know if you guys listened to Robin Leonard's press conference. He was...
Oh, yeah. He was not happy.
You feel for the guy because he does have some mental issues, and he's just seems like a cool guy, he
does,
and obviously he's frustrated. He wants to. Everybody is. We don't want to walk into a store with a bank robber mask on, and he wants to see.
Dude, I walked into the bank the other day to make a deposit, which is the first time I've done that in probably 4 years, and I walked in, and I was like, oh I put my mask on. I'm in the bank, and then I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
For a second, because I'm like, I just put a mask on in the bank,
in the bank.
I'm waiting for somebody to tackle me.
You got a security guard pointing his gun at you.
And I was like, holy smoke. I was like, oh, okay. And I just went about my business.
Yeah.
But
I feel for the guy though. I mean, he wants to, it's weird. It's just like, you can't hang out with your team on the road.
Yeah, well, and especially too,
Yeah.
I know, like the NHL said, you guys get enough vaccinations, we'll start to, reduce the amount of restrictions. And I think from what I heard, because I want to say he came out again on the day after to kind of clarify, and he's like, I get it, but we got vaccinated and we're waiting for these restrictions to be loosened on us because that's what Gary Bettman promised, and now it's not really happening, which I'm not surprised because Gary Bettman doesn't really do anything for me. But Leonard seems like a cool dude, and I definitely appreciate all the stuff he does for mental health awareness and stuff like that for the league. But can you imagine if he was still our goalie too?
Man, that would be amazing.
God.
Man, the fact that they were able to get him to
for
come
dirt
here
cheap.
and then you just trade him away. I mean,
Who did we get in that trade?
Subban,
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's
We got
right.
we got one other player.
second round pick, I think, right?
It's paying off dividends.
Yeah, it's just oh man. He kept us in the series last year. I mean, he's the reason why we made that little, if you call it a playoff last year.
I was still shocked that the Islanders did not keep him around because supposedly he loved it there. They loved it. They loved him. And then because he always talks about how much he appreciates the Islanders organization, even though he's not there anymore.
Well, they gave him a chance after his struggles with Buffalo.
In Buffalo. So I'm surprised though, you had so I know Varlamov is playing good for the Islanders, but I would take Leonard over Varlamov any day of the week.
Just with the injury issues with Varlamov.
Yeah, totally.
But it's Lou. He's got his own ways of doing stuff, and look, he's got a really solid team there. And
yes, he does.
That's how he is. I know they talk about him a lot on NHL radio and what
Can
he does.
Can you imagine would that be this third round? Would that be the conference finals if it was the Islanders and the Maple Leafs with Tavares?
Oh yeah. And if you had fans in the building,
that would be incredible.
Ridiculous.
I actually saw a mock-up, or no, not a mock-up, I'm sorry. It was real pictures of the new stadium they're building for the Islanders. It's really cool looking. It's
really?
It reminds me almost of the old Chicago Stadium. The lower bowl is really big, and then the upper deck is only one section up.
Yeah, it's like the Allstate.
Yeah, and then that's it. It supposedly holds 17,000, but the fans are right in on it. So I mean, it's really cool because I know they had Nassau Coliseum is kind of on its last legs, and I know they're back playing there again. But it'll be cool to see them playing
the
it.
Best rink to play at if you're an NHL player is Pittsburgh. I heard they have the
new one?
best stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What? Just the locker rooms, or is it
I heard that they have do they have a practice rink in there? I know it's just a brand new building, and they spend money on that team. The owners.
When did they get a new place?
I think
It was within the last 5 years, right?
Probably after their first cup. I want to say, right? Didn't they start building? And
it was opened in 2010.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they won in 09, right? Or was that Detroit? Oh no, they did win in 09.
PPG Arena.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They won it
the painting
in 09.
Yeah. Yeah. It looked awesome when I was watching the the Road to the Winter Classic stuff.
Yeah.
They always have stuff, and I mean, even they're the guys were hanging out in a lounge with the Penguin logo all over. I was like, man, it'd be it's like a man cave. Honestly, it looked awesome.
It amazes me how many times Mario Lemieux has had to save that franchise in multiple ways.
Yeah.
As a player,
I'm sure if they were struggling, he'd
as an
suit
owner,
up again.
as a player again.
Yeah,
I was listening to another hockey podcast. I think it was Puck Soup with Greg Wyshynski, and they were saying, they were talking about all the records being the records that are still attainable to be broken. Do you think if Mario Lemieux, didn't have cancer, didn't have the back injury, do you think he'd be obviously I don't know if he would have caught Gretzky, but you think he would have been pretty close for most goals scored like Ovechkin is now, or no? What do you guys think?
Maybe.
He was just so good for that short period of time.
He was.
Yeah.
And I say it's a hard maybe because, you just don't know if he would have been able to keep up with that.
If he had Yager the whole time, possibly.
Oh man,
yeah.
And
if he had Yager the whole
Yager
time,
go too. I mean,
Yager's another guy. If he would have played his whole career in the NHL, what he would have accomplished. I mean,
he would have gotten close.
He left he had some good years overseas, and it's heck, even before he left to go back overseas the second time, when he was with Florida and Dallas and Boston, he was putting up points and still, I mean, even being an old man, like he looked good. You know,
He
He was
was
still
so
scoring like
big.
15 goals, wasn't he?
yeah.
That's not
You
bad
know?
for like, what is he, 50?
So close, damn near close to it. Yeah.
He was awesome. He was fun to watch.
Yeah.
I don't think people truly understand how dominant Wayne Gretzky was. You know,
Yeah.
when you look at him, he's just such an unassuming guy. You know,
Yeah.
he looks like the guy you go up to. You're like, hey, are you the guy who does the taxes? He's like, yeah, you know, he's wearing his turtleneck. You know,
my accountant?
yeah,
Yeah.
he was just so good, man. There's a great
Yeah.
picture of him out there. It's a picture of him. It's in black and white, and he's behind the net, and it says Gretzky in the office.
Yeah.
You know,
that's what I was gonna say. That was,
He was just so good, man. He was just so good. And we're not talking about just his goals. Yeah, he scored 892 goals,
Yeah.
but he had like what 2,400 assists.
Yeah, I think if you took away every single one of his goals, he would still lead the league
He
in
would.
points,
that's how
right?
crazy
Yeah.
it
He
was
would.
because of his
Yeah.
assists. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nuts, dude.
Didn't he have
just-
like
yeah.
200 assists in one season?
Yeah,
Yeah, like in the late 80s,
Yeah.
right? Like they were putting up, I mean, in the 80s, I feel like you had guys putting up 100-point seasons left and right
Yeah.
that nowadays probably wouldn't even crack
Nowadays,
like 50 or 60,
triple
right?
digits is like,
I believe
oh
he
my
had,
God,
It's a
big
this guy's
deal.
a legend. Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe
and
he
back
had
then,
92 goals and maybe 202 assists or something
that
like
was
that.
his
That's
record
incredible.
year. Yeah, that.
Or it
92.
was 198 assists
100
or
shit,
97.
Sure felt like
I should look
3,000.
that up, man.
Yeah.
That's freaking
Yeah.
crazy, man. And,
Yeah.
and those are his regular season points. That I don't think that includes his playoff
No.
points.
it would have been so cool to see him bring a cup to LA when he was in LA.
Yeah.
You know, because
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
were
him
close.
being in LA was I loved watching them when I was a kid too. With him and Luke Robitaille being there
Oh,
and Kelly
yeah.
Rudy,
Luke
and,
Robitaille, another pure goal scorer.
Underrated too.
Oh yeah, underrated. Yeah.
Wow.
I thought
Completely
the
flew
closest
under the
guy
radar.
for Gretzky was probably Brett Hall. To me,
Mhm.
I thought Hall, he had like a 7 or didn't he have like an 80 goal season?
77, I
And
believe.
was it? He was even saying like, I can't believe this guy. He's a freak. After the season, he's like, I tried my hardest to get goals and I couldn't even get. This is the closest I could get to Gretzky. He just couldn't
Yeah.
believe it.
Yeah, it's insane. Absolutely insane.
I'm looking it up right now.
I'll be curious to see like with Ovechkin. I think they
86.
said Ovechkin
86. Yeah, I said 88.
Ovechkin would
Oh,
have to play.
listen to this. Gretzky, the top most goals in one NHL season. Number one, Wayne Gretzky, 92, like I mentioned.
92. Yeah.
That's insane.
Number two, Wayne Gretzky, 87. Brett,
Hell, if you get 92 points in a season, you're
You're
like
a good
damn
player.
near an
You're a
all-star,
pretty
right?
you're
good
Yeah.
guy.
you're
Yeah.
getting 14 million a year.
Exactly.
Number three is Brett Hull with 86.
86.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
I,
I
thought
think
he was,
I think Brett Hull scored 77 as well. I think the year after.
he was
That
good.
sounds
He was a
right.
good player. I enjoyed watching Hall.
Yeah.
Dallas
Yeah.
was my team in the 90s, well, early 2000s. Well, when Eddie Belfour went there, he was my hero, obviously. You
Mhm.
probably know that with the picture behind me. But
Oh yeah, and Alexander Mogilny, 76 goals.
Amog,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Another former Leaf too.
Didn't Teemu Solani put up a really good season?
His
too?
rookie season. His
Yeah,
rookie
his
season,
In
76
Winnipeg,
goals.
yeah.
Yeah, that was the duck hunt. Yeah,
Yeah.
duck hunt celebration. Yeah.
And then
Yes.
Wayne
Yeah.
Gretzky again, 73. And then comes Mario Lemieux. Mario Lemieux, 70.
Okay.
That's the most he had in the season. Oh no, he had 85 one year.
Okay.
Do you guys
Nice.
think any Hawk is ever going to get 50 again? I mean,
Oh man,
JR was the last one.
yeah, he was.
Yeah.
And I think Kaner might have been the closest. I think Kaner had 41 season.
I thought-
Maybe.
yeah,
That-
he did.
That sounds about right.
I
yeah. I
would
mean,
love
he
to
would have
see a
been the
50 goal
closest.
guy just once. We haven't had
Yeah.
one. Like, geez. Like,
I mean, besides
20
Kane, I don't
years?
see anybody on the roster that could do it now.
Well,
you
if
know?
we can get somebody, if Kubalik can, get a steady line mate, maybe freaking Kubalik.
he shoots.
What a-
He's the only Hawk that
what a-
shoots first.
Yeah,
what a
yes.
concept
Yeah.
is that, having lines that don't change every couple games.
Oh, gee, I know.
Yeah, it would be nice to.
Let alone every game, let alone every
How do
period.
you develop chemistry when you're constantly with somebody else?
That
It's
used to
just-
drive me. That kind of thing drives me nuts. Granted, I understand. You want if things aren't working, you want to like try and do something.
Yeah.
But at some point, you kind of got to let guys gel for a little bit, right? I mean,
yeah,
I don't know.
you have to. You can't do it in one shift. You're not gonna have a perfect shift. Sometimes it takes 2 periods to get a solid scoring chance with a line. And
right, just once. I mean, because really, each shift you're only skating up once or twice back, and then you're off
45
the ice.
seconds. Yeah, 45 seconds max.
I feel like when we were kids, it was like 2 minutes. You know, it wasn't balls out like it is now. So
No.
But
What do you think of a Kubalik, Hagel, Hinostroza line?
I could roll with that. I'd be okay with
Yeah,
that.
I think that it would
speed.
work
Love
because they all have speed, and
Mhm.
Kubalik can rip it, and Hagel and Hinostroza have great passing abilities.
Yes.
Well, that's the thing. You got a
yeah.
shooter. You got a pure shooter in Kubalik. You got a guy, Hagel, who could dish it. He could score. He could create space with his speed. And you got another guy, Vinny, who can do it too. And I think Vinny could actually win you some faceoffs, which we struggle with. Man.
Bad.
Without Taves,
Very- yeah.
we are terrible. You cannot be a puck possession team if you can't win a faceoff. That's what our coaching staff needs to see too, and our GM.
Yeah.
doesn't work.
We need centers who can
Yeah.
win faceoffs.
Yeah.
And hopefully a center with wheels. You know, we don't need a guy who's got a 65 speed rating in NHL playing center. You know, because that seems to be what happens. When,
Andrew Brunette.
When,
Remember that guy?
Oh
yeah,
God.
Brad
yeah.
Richards.
Oh man.
Marcus.
Jeez.
What's his name, man?
Kruger?
No. Kruger had good wheels. What's his name, man? He was the old guy. I think he was on the 2015 Cup run.
Marcus.
Well, you
I
mean
know
Michael
Marcus.
Hanzus?
Michael Hanzus, yeah.
Oh yeah.
He was slow as dirt, dude. But
Yeah,
he could
I
win
still
faceoffs.
remember. I think Matt, were you and I at the game
Yes.
together when he got hurt the first time around,
Yep.
and then I remember they traded for him in that cup run, and I
He was
remember
great.
all these.
He was
Yeah,
great.
he was.
He was a huge
And I
part.
remember
Yeah.
all these bandwagon fans. Oh, this Hanzus guy, he's pretty good. And I'm like, yeah, you jackass. He was already on the team,
Right,
but
yeah.
clearly, you didn't care when they weren't any good.
Exactly.
so.
Why don't you look up the year we got Havlat? We got we got him a center.
And that's when
Yeah.
he was still in his prime too. And then he got
He
I
went
think it was
to
a
LA.
knee injury, right?
He went to
Yeah.
LA and got paid, which was
Oh.
crazy.
Yeah, he
got-
They paid him big bucks.
A ton. But he was another guy that you put him in the right spot and he succeeded and he
Well,
did exactly what he was supposed to.
Didn't Havlat his first season? He was like tearing it up, and I want to say
Yeah.
Hanzus was a center, and it was Havlat, Hanzus 1-2 and points because they were
Yes.
just. And then Zeus goes down, and then Havlat is pretty much on his own the whole season.
Yeah,
with
and
Radim
then-
Verbata.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah, there's a name.
now there's a name I haven't heard in a long time. Oh man, talk about a guy that was just there to, reap the benefit of not having anyone really good on the team, and he looked a lot better than I think he actually was.
Yeah.
How often does that happen? I mean, that's probably why
well, that
Rick
was-
Nash loved playing in Columbus.
Well, Rick Nash at least scored a lot of goals. Like,
Yeah, he did.
you got to give him that. And then he got paid when he went to New York. He wanted spotlight, I think. After
Shoot, he
that.
got paid in Columbus.
Yeah,
He was getting $7.8 million a year.
I think around 6, and
No.
I think he went to.
up.
I think he went to the Rangers for about 7 to 8, and then they trade him to Boston or something.
I feel like he didn't stay nearly as long in New York as I think he planned on it.
I think he had 400 goals. Don't quote me, but I think he put up some good numbers. He was a 30-goal guy, and I think he won the Rocket.
He was in New York around the same time as Torts, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Was it Vigneault? I can't remember. Okay.
Might be Torts. Yeah. Speaking of Torts, you guys think he's gone next year in Columbus?
Yes. Oh, yes.
I don't see
think
why
he's
not.
They're dead last. I think
Well,
the players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I heard this Columbus guy on the radio, and he goes, you know what? You can't judge Torts on this season because he's the most successful coach Columbus has ever had. And
That's true.
He took him to, great.
Out of mediocrity.
Yeah, it's not Torts' fault. They can't draw
No.
the big free agents and keep their guys, but he actually
Yeah, I
adapted to make them a contender every season.
I saw an interview with that Elvis Merzlikins,
Yes,
their goalie,
I saw
and
that
you could
too.
just tell he was so depressed. He's like, "What are we even doing?" So I don't know.
You know what? They were competing with the Hawks this season, and I
They
thought
were.
Nashville, Columbus was gonna give us a hard time, and I thought Nashville was they were done. I thought Nashville was gonna rebuild, and they ended up getting hot, and it's like the opposite of what I thought. Columbus just crapped the bed.
Rick Nash got $7.5 million.
That's what I
2010 with the
Wow.
with Columbus. In 2010, man, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money in
That's
2010.
like 10 now, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he went to New York, and then it went up to 7.8 million, 7.9. And then when he went to the last years of New York going into Boston, he was getting 8.
Wow.
Wow.
Who decided to play Rick Nash $8 million?
Glenn Sather.
That is freaking crazy, man.
Jeez. Wow.
That's like, that's nuts, man. I cannot believe they paid Rick Nash that kind of money.
Yeah, especially at that point in his career. Wow.
Unbelievable. No movement clause.
That's the death knell right there when you give an old guy that thing.
It is. Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, all right, guys, let's wrap it up. Hawks, we'll see what happens. Loved what happened this year. They teased us a little bit, but the season's not over. We'll see what they do, what Bowman wants to do, because you just never know with this team, man. To be honest with you, they could be like they might just not want to die, and take this all the way. They could probably put in, the second stringers from the AHL in there from Rockford, and these guys go on a winning streak. And next thing you know, they almost make the playoffs just so you get the knife in the heart on the last game of the
Chicago.
season.
Just enough to mess up like where they're going to be for a draft pick,
Yeah.
Exactly. So, do you guys got anything else for tonight?
No, I'm just, even if the Hawks don't go forward in the playoffs, I'm just excited with the playoffs coming up. I think, obviously I'm excited for the Leafs. I'm also really excited to see what the Islanders do. I just like that team in general, watching them. Like I said, I think I've said in the past, I like Barry Trotz. I like the fact that, they have some big name players on there, but they're mostly just they play a team game. So, it's like Christmas in, it'll be like Christmas in May this year, the playoffs starting, and it'll be fun to watch hockey every night for a couple of months. So can't go wrong there.
What about you, Matt?
Yeah, I'm pleased with the season. I think we're ahead in the rebuild, if you want to call it that. And, we just got to be patient, and, hopefully next year Bowman can piece it together a little bit better and, give us some more help on the back end, and maybe down the middle. We need some face-offs, and we need some stops, and so we just got to be patient. But it's been fun, It's been we're talking like it's over, but I honestly don't see him making the playoffs, but they should still finish strong, and let's show the rest of the league that hey, we're somebody to contend with,
I was gonna say, man, I don't know about you, but you hear that noise in the background. That's the fat lady. She's singing. It's over for the Hawks.
You know what? That's coming from a Leafs fan, man. You don't want to. You don't
true.
want to be saying stuff like that.
No, I need. It's gonna come back to bite me in the ass.
Because
I'm
you're the one
pulling
who's hearing it.
I'm pulling
Yeah,
for
that's
the
true.
kid.
That's true.
I like what they did with getting Foligno, and I'm hoping that kid gets one, just because I seen him work his ass
I'd
off
like
this year.
I'd like to see him that too. Shit,
Yeah.
I remember Matt. Me and you would trade. I would make you trade me all your Maple Leafs hockey cards when we were kids.
You
so.
can have him, bud.
All right, everybody. That's all that we got for you tonight. Catch us on Twitter. Show us some love on there. Get the conversation started. We love talking hockey with anybody. So hit us up, and you'll get a message back from us. But until the next one, this is Mike and Justin and Pre. We're out.